Hi everyone, how's it going? It's Nation here. We're going to do a tutorial today and we're going to work on how to paint skin. Now this follows on from the Tarzan tutorial. So we're going to be painting this Guild Wall person. I can't remember his name, I never can. Now one thing you'll notice there is there's a bit of flash around the skin which I missed. One of the joys of going back and painting again is you miss the mistake. So I end up cleaning that up later on, so please just ignore that part of the mistake that I made. So we're going to start off here with the base color of dwarf skin. Now you want to go over this pretty liberally, to be fair. I would definitely advise doing 2 layers just so you get a nice even coverage. And yeah, you just be careful around the edges, that's the main thing to do. Just so you're aware, you can get all your Guild Ball products from Asylum Wargaming, so go check out the link below and you'll be able to get Guild Ball and other wargaming goods there. So yeah, if you like this character or if you like other Guild Ball products, go check them out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put a wash down. So after you've done a couple of layers, you put this purple. I'm using purple tone from Army Painter, but you can use Druchii Violet from Games Workshop. That works as well. It's basically a purple wash. So you don't want this to be very opaque. You want it just to sort of sit in the recesses and give a tint to the skin. I know it seems a bit weird, but trust me, it works later. Also, it's worthwhile mentioning, to be fair, you don't have to worry about it pooling too much. You actually kind of want it to pool in the recesses. If it does pool anywhere else, don't worry about it too much. It's not going to be a massive issue. Right, okay, now moving on. We're going to go back to using dwarf flesh and we're going to paint over the wash. But this time we're going to leave the recesses in place. So anywhere that's really quite deep, leave that purple. Everywhere else, we're going to paint over with dwarf flesh. Now these are paints from Vallejo. Again, you can get these from Asylum Wargaming. If you want to use a Games Workshop equivalent, I don't know the names for them. But start off with like a dull, not a dull, a deep sort of closer to flesh rather than skin tone. Use that as your base. You could use this as very let me rephrase that. You could use other colors to do this and get the same result. You've just got to follow this process to make it work. So if you wanted to do it more of like a Native American, you choose more of a browner, orangey sort of color. If you wanted to do African, you could use more of a dark browns, possibly even dark blues, dark blacks, dark greys, something like that. That will work as well. So what you do is you start with your base color, give it a wash, and then go back over it with your base color. I suppose it's worthwhile mentioning as well, try and keep your paints relatively thin. You don't really want to be putting overly thick sort of blobs of paint down on this. So keep them thin. If you do need to go over them again, go over them again. That's fine, that's not a problem. So you can see I go over them again a few times there where I think it's not really strong enough. And yeah, take your time with it. Okay, next we're coming in with elf skin tone. Now this is what I call higher up in the grey. It looks like it's been mixed with a possibly a yellow, a really light yellow, and bleach bone. And we're going to do this more of raised areas. You want to keep a bit of the dwarf skin tone showing through, but we go over the majority of the dwarf skin tone areas, again leaving the purples alone, and just adding another layer up on this highlight. Again, thin paint. If you have to go over it again, go over it again. That's fine, but thin paint. Now the face, just pick out the very highest areas. So you're talking the top of the eyebrows, the bridge of the nose, the cheeks. Everything else you can kind of leave be, to be honest with you. If you try and paint too detailed in it, you probably end up having a bit of a hard time. Unless you're a master painter, I wouldn't bother. Just go for your bog standards, what's going to pop out on the tabletop. Everything else can kind of stay where it is. There's something else which will help fix this later on. One other thing which is worthwhile mentioning is thinking about where light comes from. So you don't want to really be doing this highlight underneath the arms. You just want to be doing this where you think light's going to hit. You can see I'm going over it again just to give it a bit more, flash it out a bit. Right, now what we're going to do is mix that elf skin tone with some pale flesh. Again, thin paints. And we're just going to add another layer of highlights, again just picking up those top points on the face. Now the problem with this model is in Guild Ball a lot of people have injuries. It looks like they're just plastered up or stapled together. So that's what the weird bits of skin on the front are. They're actually like bandages. So I'll cover that later on in another video. Now don't worry if this is looking a bit odd at this point, if it's getting quite light and you're thinking this is looking a bit weird. It's fine, we're going to fix it in a bit, but just keep on going, build up these highlights, make it stand out and give it a bit more definition. Now I believe I'm coming in here with just neat pale flesh now, just to add a final layer of highlighting to it, to really get some striking sort of definition on this. Now it looks it's a bit sharp on the sort of the contrast between the purple and this very light highlight, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, we just want the very raised points on this. Right, now here's where the magic happens. What we're going to do is go back to our dwarf flesh, so this is our original base colour, and thin it down a lot. So, I mean, it looks like that I'm not even painting on paint, it looks like I'm painting on water, but that is actually dwarf flesh. If you wanted a consistency ratio, I'd say maybe 6 to 7 parts water to 1 part dwarf flesh, possibly even more. And you don't want a massive amount of it on your brush, so you just want it so your brush is wet but not pooling at all. And you just paint on this glaze, effectively is what we're doing, making a dwarf flesh glaze, and focusing mainly on the recessed areas, but we are actually going all over the model. What we're going to do here is actually blend all the colours back together and make some nice transitions so it doesn't look so dark and a bit weird, the fact that it's actually purple skin. So we're going to change this to a sort of darker shaded skin colour now rather than a purple. And you'll see, and you will have to do multiple coats of this, but it dries relatively rapidly because it is just water. So just keep on persisting at it, and as you can see, the purple starts turning into this shaded brown colour, which makes a really nice sort of shade for skin tones. Just be patient with it, that's all. As you can see, third coat. Really starting to get rid of the purple now, and it's starting to look a bit better. I believe I'm coming in here just to give it a bit more of a highlight again, actually. So as you can see as well, it's up to you if you want to go back and do a bit more highlighting, that's fine. You can see there, I'm just bringing those raised areas up a bit again, just to give it a bit more of a contrast. And hindsight's a great thing. I probably would have done a bit more of a wash on the back bit there, that's still looking quite purple. But again, you can go back and fix it again. There's nothing to say the way I've done this is the way it needs to be done. And if you want to, go back and do some more washing. As you can see, I'm literally just playing with it until I get the result I want. But just remember, go back to your base colour and use that as a glaze to blend all your colours together again. And here's some of the pictures of what it looks like afterwards. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Remember, you can go get all your Guild Ball goods and paints from Asylum Wargaming. The link will be below. And thanks again, and I'll see you next time.
Asylum Wargaming.